what is going on? She's just deleted her Twitter. She's getting called out because it was exposed, because an interview got brought up.
After being exposed in front of the whole league by Caitlin Clark, the president of the Indiana Fever is in a state of complete terror. The criticism is intensifying hourly, and fans are in disbelief.
I'm not joking when I say this. Something's gone weirdly wrong. Like, we hired a freaking chronically online GM.
This goes way beyond a single press conference or a video that went viral. The story is far more complex, and I also have all of the information.
I have said before, and I will say it again, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, Kelly Crosscroft, the Indiana Fever president, they were not ready. Now, Christine Brennan in her book confirmed the WNBA and the Indiana Fever did not realize what they were about to get themselves into with drafting Caitlin Clark, because the popularity they weren't prepared for and didn't see come.
Do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Surprisingly, over 90% of our viewers are not subscribed. Subscribing is completely free, takes just a second, and it really helps us make more videos like this. So, have you subscribed yet? If so, thank you so much. We truly appreciate your support. Now, let us get right back into the video. The Indiana Fever front office has just taken a terrible turn, and Caitlin Clark supporters are speaking out in force. Her own franchise president is suddenly criticizing the rookie who has been packing out stadiums and making the entire WNBA must-watch television. Yes, the fan community was completely shocked by Kelly Krauskopf's tone-deaf statement that their goal is for the Fever to resemble Apple. It really seems like she is referring to Clark as the iPhone case, rather than the actual iPhone, which is definitely a strange twist. Let us not sugarcoat this. The Fever is only relevant because of Caitlin. Her presence is what keeps national cameras rolling and merchandise flying off the shelves. However, the team's senior executives seem far more concerned with minimizing her influence rather than actually acknowledging that reality. It did not sit well with fans. Heavy backlash erupted on social media, exposing the statement for what it was, simply put, disrespect. Krauskopf then performed a total vanishing act. Overnight, her former account disappeared. There was no explanation, no apology, just gone. It is as if she recognized she made a major mistake and thought that by logging out, the heat would go away, but it is far too late for that. Fever fans, much like the rest of the internet, never forget. Yes, Stephanie White, every single solitary move you make is going to be heavily scrutinized. Welcome to it, right here. When someone blows up on social media during a controversy, you can easily tell they are feeling the heat. That is exactly what Fever president Kelly Krauskopf did after her now infamous Apple comment about the team went viral, and definitely not in the way she had hoped. Supporters did not hold back. Supporters of Caitlin Clark, who is the actual motor behind the WNBA's current significance, they flocked to X like bees on a spilled Coke as soon as that video went viral, criticizing Krauskopf for attempting to reduce her to a generic commodity in a corporate business metaphor. Krauskopf's former account was completely deleted by Friday night. No justification, no declaration, no effort at cleaning things up, just poof. More was conveyed by that silence than by any public relations message. Not only were fans dissatisfied, but they were furious. We are talking about actual season ticket holders, loyal fans who have been buying Fever gear despite years of losing seasons, and they now feel completely deceived. The moment they have all been waiting for is being aggressively mishandled by their team's front office staff. Even worse, there had been weeks of quiet over Clark's statements on the court before this even happened. Referees have been knocking her about, game after game now, practically pretending as if they forgot to blow their whistles entirely. Even her own president is now unable to recognize her worth without constantly bringing up the brand. Please, the supporters saw straight through it, and their suspicions were further strengthened by Krauskopf's sudden decision to run for the hills. This is now a full-fledged trust issue rather than simply poor publicity. Additionally, the front office of the Fever just ignited the match, and Sophie Cunningham quickly followed. But before we get started, please hit that like button if you believe Caitlin is being singled out on purpose, and if you truly believe that the referees are blind, please leave a comment. Yes, be sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because from this point on, things will only get more chaotic. If I was a referee, I know I would probably mess up all the time. Look, I am not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what on earth are you doing? If you just go out tomorrow, you are on the Las Vegas Strip. What can Las Vegas actually expect from Sophie? Look, at the end of the day, I am just going to be myself. I do not walk onto the court trying to predetermine anything. I am totally dialed in. I just need to focus on hitting my shots and making sure I execute the game schemes the right way. I am really not focused on any of those extracurricular activities. And honestly, you know what? During that play, it was just part of the game, but I think the referees had a lot to do with it. This has been building up for a couple of years now, with officials simply failing to protect the star player of the WNBA. So, at the very end of the day, I am always going to step up and protect my teammates. That is just what I do. I am a true team player, so everything is all good. Caitlin Clark, the unofficial vice president of Try That on Our Court and You Will Get Dropped, has a serious bodyguard in Sophie Cunningham. She just used her words to set the league on fire, going scorched earth on the first episode of her brand new podcast, Show Me Something. Her raw and unvarnished diatribe sounded like it belonged in some intense Netflix drama. Her target was definitely not limited to competitors. She went after everyone, especially the people who minimize Caitlin Clark's contribution to the league. Not once, not twice, but 3 separate times, she remarked, "You are literally dumb." That video immediately went viral across YouTube, X, and TikTok. It is the catchphrase of the day, and Sophie knew exactly what she was doing. Still, she does way more than just talk. This is the exact same Sophie who, right after Clark took an elbow to the face, body-checked a Connecticut Sun player straight into another time zone. She did not care at all that she got ejected. She made it clear, "I will defend my teammates, I do that." But this is where things get complicated. Sophie did not just stop at criticizing her opponents or the terrible officiating. She actually opened fire on her own team, the Indiana Fever. She claims their own locker room is actually the source of some of the rudeness directed at Caitlin. Team insiders are calling her podcast a straight-up declaration of war, capturing the exact same anxiety that fans have been feeling. This cultural war in the WNBA, which pits viral sensations against traditional veterans, is not just limited to the league as a whole. It is brewing right inside Indiana. Sophie is not here to be polite. Either she came to blow everything completely apart. That was not a dirty play at all. It was an intentional foul, and it was clearly meant to send a message. Sure, it turned into a bit of a scuffle, and I do not think anybody wanted that, but just look at the way the game went. And look at how egregious the referees were, and how they simply were not protecting any of the players. They especially were not protecting the #1 player in this league, the single biggest draw in the entire game, which is Caitlin Clark. And they just continued to let it happen. To me, this was not a dirty play. This was about making a statement because the referees refused to do their damn job. This would not have happened at the end of the game if the referees had just done their job on the first play. If the referees had done their job, and I am sorry, not just on the first play, but every play leading up to it. If the referees had control of the game, because that is their only job. A referee's first job, their #1 job, is always to protect their players. Now, I get it to a certain extent because that is how you are going to treat every single rookie coming into this league. But there is just more for her, let us state it. On the court, Caitlin Clark is being targeted. Think about it: elbows, body checks, gouged eyes, and total silence from the referees. There would be instant suspensions, heavy fines, and breaking news alerts across the country if anyone ever touched Steph or LeBron like that in the NBA. Yet, Clark gets mugged in the W, and play just keeps going. Consider the Fever versus the Liberty back on May 24th. Natasha Cloud rams Clark right in the middle of a play. In a 2-point game, shoulder down, clear contact, and the referees just stood there like statues. Clark froze with her palms up, basically asking if they were serious right now, all without saying anything offensive or striking back. Meanwhile, the Liberty celebrate as the final buzzer sounds. Sophie Cunningham was not about to hold back. She went right back to scorched earth, saying there is just more for her, and she was completely right. At this point, it is tough to ignore that loud and harsh double standard. This is targeted chaos, not just tough defense. There is an obvious implicit motive, as several other players have quietly admitted, which is simply to make her work for it. But that is just code for hitting her before she gets too brilliant. And that is exactly what is happening, but Clark refuses to break. She did not come to this league for some glorified hazing ritual. She came to be the dominant player. So when the referees fail to blow the whistle, Sophie is out there throwing shoulders and spitting fire on the mic like it is her job. This is not just a few bad calls. It is starting to catch on. And honestly, it is starting to look like a total conspiracy. If you are still here, you know this story goes way beyond the game of basketball. Do not just watch, get in on the action. To stay ahead of the spin, hit like, comment, and subscribe. The next big surprise can drop at any second, but they are looking to sustain the growth and the interest level in the franchise. Look, she literally said, "This is about the Indiana Fever. Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, and, we are going to continue to add to that." But she wants this team to be the leader in the entire country and, to be a brand, an enduring brand like Apple or something. She thinks they have a real opportunity there. But in Indiana, things are not going well behind the scenes. Now, this has turned into a full-fledged battle rather than just basketball. On one side, front office executives are trying to shape the Fever into a refined Apple-style brand. But on the flip side, players, supporters, and even opposing coaches know the ground reality. The brand is Caitlin Clark. Forget it. This is where things get chilly for the Fever. Things went south when team president Kelly Krauskopf chose to minimize Caitlin Clark's overall influence. Enter Sophie Cunningham, who went completely scorched earth on her own team supervisors instead of just disagreeing. And this was no mid-interview emotional slip-up. No, not even close. According to team insiders, her podcast tirade was prearranged, a deliberate attack following the president's remarks. Sophie did a lot more than just slam the WNBA. She brought actual receipts to publicly blast her own front office. That is not just annoyance, that is straight-up rebellion. Honestly, it revealed a serious identity crisis inside the franchise. The Fever already have their ultimate focal point, but they are still obsessed with building a traditional dynasty. Plus, they are acting like she is a threat instead of appreciating her. Now, the squad is split. Some see Caitlin Clark as the absolute future, while others are desperately clinging to power from the past. And guess what? The fans are not blind to this, and neither is Sophie. Neither is Krauskopf, based on that suddenly deleted former account. Let us be honest. Just take a look at this for a second. What the WNBA is doing with Caitlin Clark is the exact equivalent of the NBA doing this to Michael Jordan back in 1986. It just does not make sense. You are literally biting the hand that feeds you. Think about it, if LeBron James got thrown to the ground after an eye poke, Twitter would melt, and SportsCenter would run it on loop. Yet, for Caitlin Clark, she gets total silence, no whistle, and hits from the league. Just imagine if Steph Curry was left completely unprotected and got beat up game after game. Would the NBA ever just dismiss that? Not a chance. Yet, Caitlin Clark is experiencing exactly that. She is no rookie. People are watching women's basketball solely because of her. It is all because of Clark, the sold-out arenas, the record ratings. She is the ultimate cash cow, yet she is treated like a bench warmer. Sophie Cunningham put it best when she called this simply not acceptable. Coach Stephanie White even took over a press conference to blast the referees for constantly ignoring it. The fans clearly see it. The media sees it, yet the league remains silent. That is the harsh reality here. If Caitlin Clark were a guy, this league would be bending over backward. Instead, she gets pushed around while her own front office does nothing. Sophie is defending her, and her fans are battling. But those who should support her are too busy playing politics. More than just the future, Caitlin Clark is already right here. The problem is, the old guard is still acting like they are stuck back in 2010. This is a real reckoning, not a minor disagreement. The WNBA leadership and her own franchise might be completely throwing away a once-in-a-generation opportunity, but Caitlin Clark's star power is certainly not fading. You are either riding with Sophie Cunningham or you are a complete idiot, as she constantly reminds everyone. And now, the major question that everyone is asking is simple: what happens next? Because regardless of where you stand on this debate, you cannot deny one thing. Caitlin Clark has officially become the center of the biggest conversation in women's basketball. Every single comment, every hard foul, every press conference, and every backroom decision is being watched by millions of fans across the globe. What started as a simple basketball story has now evolved into something much bigger. It has turned into a battle over leadership, accountability, respect, and the very future direction of this league. The Indiana Fever now find themselves right at a crossroads. Do they fully embrace the generational superstar who has brought an unprecedented wave of attention to the franchise? Or do they continue fighting an uphill battle against a fan base that believes her impact is being ignored? What about the WNBA? Can league officials really afford to keep dismissing the growing concerns surrounding officiating, player protection, and the treatment of the game's biggest attraction? Because with every week that these questions remain unanswered, the pressure only continues to grow. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark keeps doing what she has always done. She keeps showing up and she keeps competing. She keeps carrying the heavy expectations of an entire fan base on her shoulders, all while that spotlight gets brighter than it has ever been. Maybe that is what makes this story so compelling. All this criticism has not stopped her. The controversy has not stopped her, and the noise has not either. If anything, it has only made her stronger. But here is the cold reality. The next few weeks could change everything: one statement, a single interview, a leaked report, or some explosive revelation. That is all it takes for this situation to reach a whole new level. Right now, fans are demanding answers. The media is demanding answers too, and the people involved are rapidly running out of places to hide. Whether this ends in a reconciliation, even more controversy, or a complete shakeup behind the scenes, one thing is certain. The entire basketball world is going to be watching every single second of it. So, what do you think? Was this just a misunderstanding that spiraled out of control? Or are we actually witnessing the beginning of a much larger conflict deep inside the Indiana Fever and the WNBA? Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below because this conversation is far from over. If you thought this was crazy, I can assure you that the next update might completely blow up the internet. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below, subscribe, and enable all notifications so you don't miss a thing. Then we will see you in the next one right after you click on the video right on the screen.